Hello everybody, I'm back in the shop. A good friend of mine, Hannes, he brought his main commuter bike over. He lives in the city. He commutes to work every day, almost year round. So he brought it in. The drivetrain is completely worn out. We're going to do a couple of chain rings on this bike, front chain rings, a chain. We're going to give it a couple of derailleur pulleys and a new cassette. The cassette wasn't so bad, but since we're doing all that work, we decided we might as well. Why not? Just so he has a completely brand new drivetrain. Of course, while the bike is here on the stand, I'm going to give it the once over. I'll check everything, readjust everything, lube everything. Also, I'm going to do the rear hub. It's a bit loose. It's pretty dry. There's almost no grease in there. You can feel. Like I said, this bike gets a lot of use. So we're going to check everything, make sure everything's okay. I'm going to bring you guys in for a closer look so you can see how worn out these parts are. So yeah, the chain ring is completely worn out. You can see how sharp those teeth are, especially the inner ring. The chain is very stretched. And the rear pulleys, same thing. The teeth are very sharp, almost nothing there, left there. And again, the cassette, you know, it would probably last a few more miles, but yeah, we're not going to do all that work and leave the old cassette in. So we're going to change that as well. The rear bearings, I'm definitely going to do. And you know, while I'm at it, I'm going to check the front hub too, since the bike gets so much use. So it's a nice old Trek, solid bike, aluminum frame. He's had it for a long time. He's got history with it, so he wants to keep it on the road. So I'm gonna get started. Join me if you like, and let's give this old Trek some new parts. I think he said that he changed this cable recently, but I see it's frayed right at the bolt, so I'm just going to cut it. He's going to get a new cable. Yeah, it's frayed right at the end there. Pretty dirty. It's in good shape though. Always when you're taking off cranks, make sure there's no washer in there. Sometimes the washer gets stuck in there and you'll put the tool in, try and pull out the crank and you'll just strip the threads. So never assume, I always check. Even if one side doesn't have it, when I go to take off the other side, I always check. Because I have ruined a set of cranks that way. So I've learned the hard way. And you want to get the tool in as far as you can to have more thread so you get a good grip on it. The bottom bracket feels really good. It feels really smooth and there's no play in there at all. But you know, since we're doing all this work, we're pulling everything off. I might as well pull off the left side crank and feel the axle. That's the best way to tell, of course. So I'm just going to check the bottom bracket to double check it. Again, no washer in there. These threads are a bit dirty, so just want to go in there with a little brush, because again, you want to put the crank tool as far as possible to get the best grip. That's much better. Oh yeah. And another thing, if you're new to this, you want to make sure this part of the crank puller is out, and that when this stops, it's not because it's hitting this. So make sure this is out, and then put the crank tool in as far as it'll go, and then you know that you've gone in as much as you can. So now I can screw this part in and pull the crank. It's always a bit of a debate when installing cranks if the spindle should be greased. I was taught when I used to work in a bike shop never to grease the crank spindle, but I don't see the harm in just putting a light film of grease on it. Like in this case, this side came out, it was pretty tight, and you can see the corrosion in there. And it'll just prevent that. So the next person that works on the bike, it'll be much easier for him or her. No, that bottom bracket feels very good. It's in good shape. So I'm just going to clean around where the tool goes so that not too much. There's a bit of dirt buildup in there, of course. But, you know, you don't want to keep adding dirt to it over the years, and then, you know, when you go to remove the bottom bracket, it's impossible to get a tool. It's hard to get a tool on there, so I like to clean everything up while I'm here. I just lightly dip my brush into Varsol a little bit. It helps loosen things up. I'm not doing too much so that, I mean, this is a sealed bottom bracket, but I'm not going to put too much Varsol in so it goes into the bearings. So again, I cleaned everything, I brushed everything off as much as I could with the Varsol. I got in there with the compressed air, dried everything off, and now I'll just go in with a light lubricant so all the moving parts can get lubricated. Cycle the derailleur a few times so all the moving parts get get the lubricant in there. And then I'll just air dry it again. I'll blow dry it off just to get rid of the excess and wipe it off, and then you don't have too much lubricant left on there for things to get extra dirty. Since this is a bike that gets ridden in the rain, even in the winter, in the snow, in the slush, I'm just gonna go and try and clean up as much as I can anything that's built up, any kind of dirt around the fender bolts, around the brake bolts, anywhere else. Try and clean off as much as I can, and spray with this light lubricant so that everything stays nice and free. If anything needs to be removed in the future, this little bit goes a long way. The brakes feel really smooth, no issues there at all. If they felt a bit rough, I would pull the bolts and lubricate in there. Sometimes little rust forms on the brazons for that the arms slide onto. You can lightly sand those to prevent any further rust buildup. But these feel really good. No need to do anything there. Again, little lube on all the moving bits. And then wipe off the excess. So that doesn't attract any extra dirt. So here's a perfectly good example of how important maintenance is. Even though the brakes felt good, they felt a bit weak, and I know the owner of the bike, Hannes, he likes a snappy brake, so I wanted to at least pull the arms off, and the springs were put into the middle hole here, and I wanted to put them up on the top hole so that they have more tension, so the brakes feel more snappy, and even though the arms were moving freely, there's a lot of rust around the as you can see, around the brake bosses. The other one, let's see if I can get it focused here. There's a lot of dirt and crud there, so this is going to give us a good chance to sand down the bosses a little bit, get rid of that rust, and put a lot of grease there. Because again, this bike gets ridden right through winter. So actually, I had a pretty hard time getting these brake bolts off. So it was a good time to pull them off before they were, seized in there. So I'm just taking a bit of 1000 grit, really fine sandpaper, and little lube. And again, we're going to put that spring into the top hole, giving the arm more tension for a nice snappy feel. The rear derailleur is pretty dirty, but nothing terrible. Just gonna take the pulleys off, clean everything else, and when we get the pulleys, we'll reassemble it. Quite a bit of corrosion there. I like to get as much as I can. I like to wipe off as much as I can, so that you know, it's less time in the ultrasonic cleaner. And if the stuff is caked on, like here, it'll, you know, sometimes the ultrasonic doesn't even clean it that well. Main reason I put it into the ultrasonic machine is because you know, it gets into the little nooks and crannies everywhere that you can't even get with a brush. I mean, it's a really deep clean. It's not for this hard stuff. Yeah, so now into the ultrasonic. Pretty dirty, but we're not cleaning these because they're completely worn out. Again, I don't have to take off the pedals, but who knows when they were taken off last? Who knows if the person who installed them put any anti-seize or grease in there? Probably not, because I'm having a hard time to get them off. So I'm just going to soak them a little bit and take the pedal off, grease the spindle, and put it back in. So it'll be good to go for the next few years. So again, the left pedal is giving me a hard time to come off. A lot of dirt buildup right around the threads here. So I like to get in there with something really sharp, kind of get all the dirt off. And then when we soak it with oil, it has a better chance to penetrate. Actually, yeah, I can see the oil disappearing, the lubricant, so that means that's a good sign. It's going in there. And I'll do the same from the other side. Again, a lot of dirt buildup here. Let's get in there with something sharp, as much as you can. Hit it from the other side. So the rear derailleur out of the ultrasonic, looking very good actually, nice and clean. I'm going to hit it with compressed air, then spray it with this light lubricant again, let it stay for a while. Once I hit it with the lubricant, I'll move it around so all the lubricant gets into the little pivot points and stuff. Then I'll spray it again to get rid of the excess oil. Nice and clean, ready to go. So the Allen key wasn't working, so I put the 15 millimeter wrench on there, and I kind of hit it with a hammer just to break that initial seal. And yeah, this pedal is coming out kind of difficult. Oh, better now. Okay, yeah, it's bone dry. It's not rusted, but it's bone dry. So we're gonna put some grease in there and install it back on. So next time the bike needs a pedal, it comes out nice and easy. Pedals are in good shape. Same thing with the left-hand crank. Hit it with a hammer just to break it. Actually, this one I can see a bit of salt got in there. And again, bone dry. I got the front brake arms off also. They're not bad, but better to check anyways. There was no corrosion. Just gonna drop some oil into the housings. Again, putting the spring in the top position here to give him a better brake feel. More tension. All right, so I took the rear axle apart. Ball bearings are nice and clean. The cone was relatively clean. But on the drive side, somehow it looks like some water got in there. Balls are pretty dirty, almost a bit rusty, and the cone is rusty and much dirtier. But no big deal. We'll clean everything up and make sure it's packed with grease and put it all together. That explains why it felt really rough and was spinning freely. Okay, so cleaned up everything. There's a bit of pitting on the drive side. I don't know if it shows in the camera, but it's even all the way around, so I'm not going to worry about it. It should I should be able to get it pretty smooth. The other side is in really good condition. So like I said, it should be okay. Worst case, if I can't get it smooth enough, we'll get a new cone in and we'll change the cone. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be all right. It's a commuter. We can't spoil it too much. I don't like to take these dust caps out. Sometimes they're really stuck. Most often, actually, they're pretty stuck in there. And then you try and pry them out. They get bent and they never go back the same way. So I can get in there pretty good and clean out the bearing surface, the race. So yeah, I'd like to keep those things where they are. Yeah, nice and clean. So when it comes to setting up an older style hub like this, like a loose bearing hub, what I like to do, especially on the rear wheel, of course you're going to need a cone wrench, a 15 mil, and any other wrench. I like to use this adjustable, it works fine. Now the drive side, the right side, I like to get the cone against the lock nut. I want to make sure that it's as tight as it'll go. It's nice and tight, because once we put the bearings in here and put the axle in, you don't have access to that cone anymore. You won't have the room for this cone wrench to go onto the cone and have any kind of adjustment here. So that's why I like to make sure the drive side is nice and tight. Once I put the axle in, I'll show you how I adjust it on the non-drive side. You want to make sure you put enough grease in there so when you put the bearings in, the ball bearings, they'll stay. You can't really put too much. Any excess is going to come out once the wheel has a few turns. So no harm in putting in a little extra. Now I want to grease both sides, because once I put the bearings in on this side and I put this axle through, then the axle is going to be sticking out of here. So that's going to be hard to grease. So I'd like to grease both sides first. Now we can drop the bearings in. It's usually in the rear. It's 9 per side, 9 on each side. So we got 3, 4, I like to put a little more grease on there just to make sure they stay in there. Flip it over. Okay, all 9 are in there. Again, let's put a little on top. Make sure they stay. So I'm putting the drive side in. Again, this is nice and tight. It's locked. The cone is locked on this side. Okay, just hand tight for now. And there's a little spacer usually, a little washer that goes on. And then the lock nut. Okay, just hand tight. Now I can already feel it's a bit tight. So what I'm going to do, so just because I know it's a bit tight, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can either lock it with the lock, or you can hold the cone wrench still, and lock it if I had the adjustment just right. Or now I know it's a bit tight, so I'm going to hold the lock nut still and then back out the cone just a touch, and then it made contact now I felt it tightening up against the lock nut. So I'm not going to tighten it fully. I'm just tightening it down a little bit so everything is nice and steady. So now from here on, it's just a matter of feeling it. The trick is you want to do it as loose as possible, as free turning as possible, without having any kind of play. You should not have any kind of play here at all, but to have it freely spinning. So here I want to back up a little more. I have no play, but I want to see if I can go make it a bit looser. So again, I'm holding the adjustable wrench still while backing up the cone against it outwards. So we're bringing the cone out, therefore making it more free. Okay, I'm just gonna feel it again. It's still good. I could go a bit looser. I know I can back it out a bit more. Again, holding the lock nut still, I'm backing out the cone. I usually do this till I start to get a little bit of play. Then I know I've gone too far. I have it too loose. It's still good. One more time. Again, I'm only backing out the cone. Okay, now I have just a touch of play. So I know all I have to do is tighten it just a little bit, and that's the sweet spot. So we know the right side is locked nice and tight. The cone is locked up against the lock nut. Now I know this is pretty tight because I backed it out against the lock nut and I got it nice and tight. But the problem is now it's just a touch loose. So what you can do, get a big wrench on the other side on the lock nut. And get a big wrench on the lock nut here. And just tighten it just a touch. That's all we need. Just to get that axle not moving and not to have any play, but to be turning nice and free. That's why I went as far as, that's why I kept loosening the cone till I got some play, so that I can make the final adjustment here just by tightening up. That's all you need. So it's nice and free, and we have no play. It's turning nicely, and we have no play. That's the way I do it. Bit of rust on the quick release skewer. Bit of lubricant. It's the fine 1000 grit sandpaper. We'll grease it up and put it back in. Front wheel, the axle feels fine, but again, this bike gets a lot of use, and I can tell it could use a bit of grease. It turns quite freely, so I'm just going to, depending on how it looks, it's probably going to look okay in there, but I'm just going to add some grease and repack it with grease and put it back together. Yeah, it's nice and clean. Mind you, if I pull out this axle, the bearings are probably going to fall, so it's okay. We'll, if they do, we'll put them back. Yeah, both sides are nice and clean. Okay, we might get lucky here. I know this side is going to stay now. We got some grease on there. One fell out already. That's okay. Of course, I had to run out of grease. Give the cones a wipe. Something got stuck in there. All right. The front hubs are usually 13 or 14 for the cones. And again, now I'm going to go on either side. So I'll go on this side. Oh, actually, because this is a disc wheel. This is a dual wheel. It's a rim brake, but you can also put a disc on here. So I can't get in from that side. So I'll loosen this a bit. Enough that I can lock this up. Oh, that's tight anyways. Okay. And now we'll go ahead with our adjustment like we did the back wheel on this side. Go back and forth till we get it just right. And then we'll make sure it's locked. A little more. And actually, if I back it up a little more, it's going to be nice and tight against the lock nut, so that's just going to be just right. Yeah, perfect. No play. Okay, good to go. We'll give it a wipe, and that's it. When you're changing pulleys on the rear derailleur, sometimes it goes unnoticed, but there's actually two types of pulleys. You'll see the teeth on the one pulley are more square and the other one are kind of more sharp. The one with the more square teeth goes on here because that's the actual pulley that's shifting, sort of derailing the chain. So it has a better grab on the chain. The other one's just an idler pulley. So there is a difference in the pulleys, as you can see. So the more squarish one goes up top. It's gonna do a light coat of grease on these, very light, just to prevent rust in the future. And a bit of oil. The wheels didn't look bad at all, but I like to check them, and I don't like throwing wheels up with the tires on. So I pulled the tires off, just going to give it a quick check. It's a little off. Just a touch, so. Good to go. Okay. Actually, while I had the chance, I switched the tires. I put the back one in the front and the front in the back, because the back had a little more wear. And Hannes, the owner of the bike, rides this bike a lot, so we want to even out the tire wear as much as we can. I'll tighten this down on the floor where I can get more leverage. I don't like that. I'm gonna change that.